Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin, and today we're unboxing the iPhone 11 Pro. So I've got it right here, and underneath I've actually got the Apple Watch Series 5. That's going to be saved for another video. Now, I just want to point out the packaging. You notice that these boxes are the exact same width? It's just kind of wild, the attention to detail that Apple puts into these. So I downgraded in size this year, and I'm kind of happy with that idea. I had the XS Max last year. I'm on the iPhone upgrade program, so I do get a new one every year. I'm going to put this to the side. And the reason I downgraded was because I like the smaller size better. I always have, but the only reason that I've historically gotten the bigger ones is just the bigger battery, better battery life. And early reviews on this are out. The battery life is supposed to be much better, and so I'm excited about that. So hopefully I can get by on the smaller device, and the battery life will be fine, because Apple actually has a great return return policy. So if I don't like the battery life on this, I can easily walk into an Apple store within the next 14 days and swap it out for an iPhone 11 Pro Max. So the other big improvement is the camera. You can see we have a triple lens camera now, and I'm skeptical. You know, I tweeted about this shortly after. I said, I think I'm going to buy this product for the camera improvement, knowing that I already have, a half a dozen to a dozen phones that have better cameras. And I've again, the reviews are great regarding the camera. So I'm skeptical. But there are a couple things I'm actually really looking forward to with this camera. One is portrait mode. And Apple has had portrait mode as long as they've had dual lens iPhones, but it sucked. Like, you have to, Apple's dual lens phones, it has a standard lens and it has a 2x zoom lens. Where, other companies, when dual lens was the big thing, like LG used to do a standard lens and a wide angle lens. So the natural progression of things was always the triple lens camera, but Apple's portrait mode, you always had to use that 2x zoom lens, so it was really a pain. You'd go to take a regular picture, and then you say, let me try taking this in portrait mode. Like, wait, I gotta take 5 steps back now. Oh wait, the lighting's not good enough. Oh wait, it's telling me to move closer. You move closer. Wait, it's telling me to move further away. So with this, you can actually use portrait mode with the main lens, which doesn't seem like it should be a big deal, but it feels like it to me. Okay, so that's the one thing that I really am excited about, and I do hate the design of the camera lens. It's just the asymmetry just feels so un-Apple to me. It's weird, but anyway, I actually have right in front of me. This is the Mate 20 Pro. You can see they used a similar design, but it's symmetrical. 3 lenses and a flash. You have 4 components to put in the corners. Anyway, let's get this box open. Okay, and I just love Apple's package design. I was actually talking with a friend about the package designs. Look how easy that was to open. I didn't need a knife or anything. It's just you pull a tab and the plastic comes off. And so let's just get this box open. And here we have the iPhone 11 Pro. This is actually the first time I've seen it up close. I did go to an Apple store to buy it, and I barely even looked. The other thing about this phone is that the design is boring. It's the same as we got for the last 2 years, and that's just the way it is. The redesign is supposed to come next year. Okay, this is, hello, and we've got our Apple stickers that have come with Apple products, as long as I've been buying them at least. We have our USB Type-C headphones, which, I don't know, I mean, do you remember when they first, it wasn't when they first removed the headphone jack for the 7, but with the iPhone 10, I believe what they did was, or what the speculation was, that they were going to ship with AirPods or free Apple Music and all this stuff that people thought was going to come with that $1,000 price tag, but it just didn't. And it always disappoints me. But what we do have now is an 18-watt charger. It has a USB Type-C port in it rather than USB Type-A. So it comes with a USB Type-C to Lightning adapter, which is huge, okay? Apple's phones have supported fast charging since the 8, or the 10, like that 8 plus 10 generation. But it came with a 5-watt charger, so you had to go out and spend about $75 on, at the time, all they had was a 30-watt adapter, USB Type-C, and then you had to go out and buy a separate lightning cable as well, because the 5-watt adapter was USB Type-A. So you had to go out and buy the 30-watt charger, which is really built for MacBooks, I think. And then you had to buy a separate cable as well, and it all added up to about $74, I think. Yeah, so it was insane. Like you buy this $1,000 phone, and every competitor on the market ships with the fast charger. So now we've got an 18-watt charger. You should get that fast charging, and yeah, so that's really nice. All right, so we can take a closer look. We're booting up here. So, couple things. One, we can see, and I couldn't take this plastic off, by the way. We can see that we have a matte black now, a matte back. Sorry. It comes. This is the midnight green model. It also comes in silver, space gray, and gold. The midnight green is really the new color, but it's all matte now. Like, it's got this frosted glass on the back, so you still get that wireless charging, but it's not as glossy. It shouldn't pick up fingerprints as much. We have camera bumps, right? Individual camera bumps. When that camera design leaked a long time ago, I didn't believe it, like I said, with the asymmetry. I'm like, no way Apple would ever do that, but they did. But they're individual camera bumps. I thought it would be one big camera bump, but it's not. Okay, so stainless steel frame as usual, and of course, regular notch. Like, the front of it looks exactly like it did before. Alright, so I was trying to activate my iPhone. I'm not really sure how this works and how well it will work, because it's just a little tricky when it comes to T-Mobile activation. It's one of those things where they can't really. Let's see if I can do this while we're recording. Okay, so it looks like my phone number did transfer over to this SIM card. It's weird with T-Mobile. They just can't figure it out. He sent me home with my SIM card. You're gonna need this. So whatever, it works now. But yeah, it's going to take a few minutes. I did not restore from an iCloud backup because on my XS Max, I was using the iOS 13.1 beta. And obviously this ships with iOS 13, which means that I'm going to have to set it up as a new iPhone. And then I'm going to have to upgrade to the beta, reset it again, and then just, restore from the iCloud backup. Okay, let's go to Express settings, because this installation is not gonna last long, so we should be able to just breeze through these if there wasn't a progress wheel every 2 seconds. Okay, set up later in settings. Set up later in settings. Let's share with app developers. Continue. Of course we want dark theme. I mean, that's one thing that, geez, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, yeah. So that's our geez. There's a lot going on here, okay? Yeah. So, but we have a bunch of pre-installed apps that I totally forgot, like Clips, GarageBand, iMovie, iTunes U. I didn't know that still comes pre-installed. Keynotes, Numbers, Pages. I uninstall all that stuff. But yeah, this is standard iOS stuff, and this is the biggest complaint that I get from people that get new iPhones is that it just doesn't feel like a new phone. And what's cool is that if you're upgrading from, 7 Plus or 7 or an 8 or an 8 Plus, it will feel like a new iPhone because you have the new swipe gestures. There's no home button. If you're upgrading from an iPhone 10, which you probably should at this point because the camera improvements are much more notable from a 10, then you will, it won't really feel like a new phone. It's the same size, same similar display, same notch. Obviously the back is different because it's like that frosted glass, the triple camera, so people will be able to see that you have the new iPhone, even if you have a case on it. And then of course, everything else is the same though. We have, volume rocker on the side. We have our switch to silence the phone or unsilence it, and then power button over here. SIM tray. And, like I said, it doesn't ship with 13.1, but 13.1 is coming on the 24th, which is 4 days from when I'm recording this. So, it's coming. And if you get an iPhone on, the 30th, it's probably going to ship with 13.1. So that if you're running the beta and your order's delayed a little bit, it's probably a good thing. I usually have my display set to dim a little longer, but I'm not going to bother with that. Well, this is all iOS 13 stuff I could show you, though, which is like, we have new, obviously all dark mode, but we have new wallpaper, and what's cool about this is that you can actually set wallpaper. See how it shows something different for those top 4? And that's because in light theme, you'll get the one with the white, and in dark theme, you'll get the one with the black, which is kind of cool. You get different stuff for dark theme, you get different stuff for light theme. Okay, so not much else to show here because, again, the core experience isn't very different. It's going to be faster because it's got the new A13 Bionic chip. Although, you know what we can take a look at is the camera app. And I'm just curious to see if anything's different. And we want to access capture outside the frame. New shutter button. See and capture the area outside the frame of the photo or record a video to improve composition. That's pretty cool. New shutter button. Tap and hold the shutter to record a quick video. Drag the shutter to the left for a burst. Okay, so you can see now we have the 0.5, 1, and 2 buttons, which is cool. It lets you switch between them. And other than that, portrait camera, create a portrait. And what's cool is that you can, of course, it defaults to 2x though. Whatever. But you at least get that 1x. And it's the same frame as a normal photo, which is just awesome because that is something that I have really hoped they would do for a while. Okay, video you can record with any of the 3 lenses, and moreover, you can do 4K 60 frames per second with any one of those lenses. And if we go into settings, we can actually see our if we can find the camera here. It's I remember when this all used to be pretty simple, but it's not anymore. We have, see, 4K 60 frames per second it goes up to, and that's been there since the iPhone 8/10 generation. And they were the first to support 4K 60 capture. Apparently, I was just playing with the settings a little bit, but apparently you could do 4K 60 with the front camera, which would be wild. I believe they said 4K 30 in the announcement, but yeah, you can set these here, and there used to be a thing in there that said you couldn't do 4K 60 without using the newer format, which is the HIF HEVC, which I'd rather go with most compatible, which would be either it's MP4 or MOV. So, and it just switched me back. Oh yeah, so okay, there it is. there used to be like a disclaimer down here that would say like, hey, if you switch this, but anyway, you get the pop-up. But that's pretty cool. I'm just really interested that the front camera apparently does this because that's wild. Just a front camera, like there are very few front cameras that even do 1080p 60 or 4K 30, let alone 4K 60 in a front camera. Okay, so 2 things that I'm going to focus on with this review are obviously the camera. I am something of a smartphone camera nerd, and the battery life. But I mentioned that I have maybe half a dozen phones that will probably have better cameras than this, and I've got some right in front of me. Like I said, Mate 20 Pro. I've also got the P30, the Huawei P30. The P30 Pro is around here somewhere. That one's never too far from me. But in recent years, Apple has really fallen far behind in terms of photography. Other companies are doing a lot of stuff with photography. One area where they haven't fallen behind at all is video. The video you record with an iPhone is better than anything else you're going to find on any smartphone. But in terms of still images, not so much. And obviously that's kind of a problem. So hopefully there's a lot of improvements here. One thing that I'm not too pumped about is that these sensors are all 12 megapixel sensors. And so you have that wide angle, which is 0.5x. You have the standard lens, which is 1x. And then you have the zoom lens, which is 2x. And I don't know if that's enough, right? To take it back to Huawei, this phone has a 40 megapixel main sensor, an 8 megapixel 3x zoom lens, and a wide angle lens. So right away you get that 3x optical zoom, and then you get 5x hybrid zoom, combining that high resolution main sensor with that telephoto lens. The P30 Pro, that gets 5x optical zoom with the zoom lens, and that gets 10x hybrid zoom. Like, that's huge. And I used to be a Windows Phone guy, so I had the Lumia 1020 with the 40 megapixel sensor, and one of the things that phone was known for was lossless zoom. And with a 40 megapixel sensor, you can, and at the time it was like 4x lossless zoom, and that was huge. So you would take a picture, and then there was a reframe button, and you could just zoom, save it, and you were good. And it makes a difference. It makes a difference because you're taking a picture, and like, you don't have to run up to it to take the picture. You can just, how many people do you see have an iPhone and they pinch to zoom, and those pictures, they come out terrible. Like, we see them on Facebook and Instagram. You have these grainy pictures where, because they're sitting in a bar on a Friday night that's dimly lit, and then they pinch to zoom, and you get these terrible pictures. So the low light capabilities on those Huawei phones are amazing. The zooming capabilities are amazing, and like, these things matter. So right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that the zooming is not going to be as good. It'll probably be better than it was on the last phones, but that's one of the things that I'm skeptical about. Overall image quality, I'm also skeptical on that too. I'm sure the low light will be much better, because, and you can see that the lenses are much bigger than they were before. But just overall image quality, the thing is, I do review a lot of Huawei devices, so I do compare this a lot, because I think Huawei makes the best phones on the market, and they have the best cameras. But when Huawei showed off the P30 Pro in Paris, right? They showed this thing where, like, when they briefed me on it, they would show me these pictures like, this was in a completely dark area, and you chose absolutely horrible image on an iPhone, and then it looked like the image was lit up on the P30 Pro, and it was hard to believe that no one used a flash or anything like that, or the lights weren't turned on. And but then I got my review unit, and I tried the exact same thing. I shut the lights off in my hotel room, I took my iPhone, I took my P30 Pro, and I took the same picture, and the results were remarkable. And the thing is, when you see something like that at an event, being able to reproduce it so easily is huge. Apple showed off, they call it pro photography. So yeah, you had these videos shot with all this expensive equipment, but it was shot using an iPhone, and in like this studio, professional studio, whatever. And it's like, am I going to be able to recreate the things that they're doing? And I'm not sure about that. I don't know. So like, it's great to be able to show it on stage, but if the average consumer just wants to launch the camera app, pinch to zoom probably, and hit the shutter button and get a great picture. And you should be able to do that. The technology is there. It's being done. But Apple is obviously responding to pressure from companies like Huawei and other companies that are doing great things with smartphone cameras. So you've got the extra camera lens now, and hopefully it's not just the extra camera lens. The iPhone 11 is dual lens now, but interestingly, they added the wide angle lens rather than the zoom lens, which is fine, but you're not getting that kind of lossless zoom. So whatever. But that's it, guys. I've talked about this for a while, so this was probably a long video to watch. If you're still in, thank you. And that's it. I'll have a review on this. Probably going to spend a little more time with it than I usually do, so 3 to 4 weeks. So there's that. I'm Rich from Neowin. Have a great night.